Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another Q&A video, going over your questions for episode 2 of The Ones Who Live. We're also going to talk about the series overall, and do we think that 6 episodes is enough to tell this story? Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another Q&A video leading up to episode 2 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I'm going to go through some comments, some questions from you guys for today. Definitely a lot of fun because we only got 2 days left until we can finally talk about episode 2 of The Ones Who Live. Of course, I went through your guys' Q&A questions and comments. We're going to go over them in today's video. And just a little bit of a reminder, I'm probably going to do this every week, is that this is going to be probably 2 Q&As a week leading into Ones Who Live episodes. I used to only do 1 Q&A when Dead City and Daryl Dixon were on, but I think I'll do 2 because Ones Who Live is a bit more of an event, and it seems like you guys have a lot more questions for Ones Who Live rather than Dead City and Daryl Dixon, which makes sense. The interest is a lot higher. So we'll definitely at least do 2 Q&As per week for Ones Who Live. Probably 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Friday. That's probably what I'm going to be aiming for the next 5 weeks, that is. So let's get into this. Now, before we get into your questions, I want to go into of course, announcement that this is a 6-episode event, which we talked about last week. And now, do we think that this is enough to tell this story after seeing 1 episode? Now, one of the things that somebody did say, and it's honestly a lot of people said this, so it's not even one specific person, is that episode 1, the pacing was very fast. Now, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, me personally, I thought it was very well executed. I didn't have a problem with it. But a lot of people are saying that the pacing for this show is very, very fast. They're getting to the point very quickly. So do we think that 6 episodes, because they keep telling us that it's a 6-episode limited event, do we think that 6 episodes is enough to tell this story, where one of the episodes, we barely even have Rick? It sounds like we're just going to have Michonne and a little bit of Rick, and that'll be it. Now, here's the thing. I really do think that if this is really 1 season, they should have altered for like 10 episodes at least. But, you know, again, maybe they will be able to tell the story in 6 episodes. We don't know what they're going to do. We also don't know if there's a 2nd season because there have been potential leaks of casting calls for a 2nd season of Ones Who Live. Galen Hurd let it slip on her, Instagram, of course, a few weeks ago, and ever since then, there's been pieces of evidence here and there kind of alluding to the idea of a season 2, potentially even filming this year at some point. So, I don't know. You know, to me, it's like, if you're going to do a 2nd season, don't lie to your audience telling people it's a 6-episode limited event. That's my big problem with it, is that if this really is a 6-episode limited event, then okay, you know, at that point, we'll have to just see what we see. But if there is a season 2, I don't see the need to lie to the audience, you know? It's not exactly a surprise that Rick and Michonne survived this show, you know? Or at least Rick, for that matter. You know, I don't think that's much of a surprise. Especially seeing how Andrew Lincoln says that he dies in the finale, which we now know that definitely is not going to happen because he wouldn't be allowed to say that if it was the case. But yeah, you know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what ends up happening. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if 6 episodes is going to be enough. I feel like you would probably need a season 2 regardless, because there's so much story left to tell. And as far as I know, Norman Reedus is not in this season. And same thing with Lenny James. So I feel like you're going to need more story for Rick than just these 6 episodes. But again, we'll have to see. Maybe they got something up their sleeve. It's just a matter of time, really. But anyway, getting started from you guys. First one comes from Viola, who says that, Dan, how do you think Pearl Thorne is going to react to Michonne after seeing her reunited with Rick? Now, I think she'll be happy for Rick, although I feel like it's going to be a 50-50 type of scenario. I feel like she's also going to be very on guard about the idea that Rick has Michonne, you know, with her, or with him, sorry. And I do think that in terms of, you know, her kind of idea of what she wants Rick to do, to maybe, you know, continue on with the plan to take over CRM, I do think that Pearl Thorne is going to be happy that Michonne is with him, but I also think that she's going to be nervous for Rick's safety. That's the thing, you know, because Michonne being around is definitely a very, very big advantage that the CRM may have against them, you know. So that's one thing I will say. Although I do think she'll be happy for Rick, although I feel like it's going to be one of those scenarios where she's going to kind of wish that she was back with her lover, you know. That's the one thing. But, you know, we'll have to see, right? That's just a matter of time. Now, the next one comes from Claude, who says that, Dan, what do you think of the idea of Okafor giving Rick a book that looks a lot like the same book that Morgan had about the art of peace in episode 1 of Ones Who Live? It looks like the same book. Now, yes, I've heard that a theory online is that apparently Okafor gave Rick a book, and it was literally looking like the same cover art of The Art of Peace, which is the book that Morgan had in The Walking Dead. Now, this could be another copy of it, absolutely. I doubt that Okafor was able to rip that from Morgan. So, I don't know. Is this going to be a scenario where maybe there is a bit of a connecting point to Morgan? Maybe Okafor and Morgan have already met in the timeline and we don't even know? Possible, I guess. It's definitely, yeah, it's possible. I mean, Morgan's out there looking for Rick right now. We don't know where the hell he's at. So, honestly, he can pop up at any given time, and I don't think it would be unrealistic, to be honest, because, I mean, the guy is traveling the country guaranteed with Little Mo by his side, so it's not impossible that you could run into Rick at one point or another. It's a bit of a stretch, but I don't think it's more of a stretch than Daryl ending up in France on a little boat, So, I mean, you got to kind of have some suspension of disbelief, I'd say, at some minor times with this franchise. I mean, Troy got cracked in the head, and then he got, resurrected and brought back. So, sometimes you got to kind of, believe a little bit longer, as you will, as Nate would say. So, yeah, pretty interesting. But I will say, yeah, the book I did notice. I did catch on to that, and I found that to be pretty interesting. I don't know if that's a setup or what that is, but it's pretty cool. The next one comes from a user who says that, Dan, how do you think Aaron is going to react seeing Rick losing a hand, seeing how Aaron kind of felt like the replacement comic book Rick with the left hand being lost and stuff like that? So how do you think he's going to react to that when he eventually sees him? Well, I hope he sees him. I mean, honestly, that's the thing I think we're all kind of, wanting to see is, a reunion with some of these characters that Rick hasn't seen for a while. Negan, Maggie, Daryl, characters like this. Aaron is definitely a little bit below on, the list a little bit, but I would like to see Rick reunited with Aaron in some kind of way. I'll say this, though, is that I don't think in any way, shape, or form that them two are going to have much screen time together, at least in this show, if they get anything at all, I will say this, though. I do think that Rick will be pretty blown away that Aaron as well, has this mace hand and stuff like that, and I think that Aaron will be the opposite and be like, hey, you got a knife hand, hey, best buddies, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Next one comes from Marie, who says that, Dan, do you think that maybe potentially there will be 3 seasons of Ones Who Live? At least I think so, because of 3 movies being announced originally back in the day. Also, do you think that the CRM is behind the outbreak and the zombie apocalypse? Because it was very weird that we saw the green gas in some of the teasers and stuff like that, also in World Beyond. So, like I said, I think CRM has some kind of involvement. I think that's why they're so inclined to cure everything in the World Beyond, like they were trying to make a cure and stuff like that. I also think that we'll probably see Leo Bennett in The Ones Who Live. That is one thing I do think we'll get, because he was hanging out with Pollyanna McIntosh very closely during the filming of Ones Who Live, so they kind of made it obvious, I'd say. But here's the thing, is that in terms of 3 seasons of Ones Who Live, I think it's a must, to be honest. I know that might sound a little bit demanding on my end, but it's we just got Rick back, right? Am I right? I know I'm not alone in this. And then episode 2 is mostly Michonne, which don't get me wrong, I love Michonne. I can't wait for her episode. Well, I've seen it, but I can't wait to watch it again, But here's the thing, is that I just don't feel like 4 more full Rick episodes is enough, Maybe that's just me being greedy. I don't know if that's how it's coming across, but I want multiple seasons of this show. I want more stuff with Rick than we're just getting in 6 episodes, I don't know. It doesn't feel like enough based off of 3 movies. It really doesn't. And that's why I'm very surprised that they're really forcing it down people's throats. This is a 6-episode event. That's it. Don't ask no more. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't. I'm all right with it, but I feel like by the time I get to the end of the season, I'm going to be like, what the frick? So I don't know. I feel like 3 seasons for 3 movies is something that makes sense. Although they may have crammed down the movie's storyline and they may have crammed a lot of stuff in so that, some of these movies are rushed throughout, just an episode or 2. You never know. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do. We'll have to see how they execute it. It's just a matter of time. But I would very much enjoy 3 seasons. Yeah, I think that'd be a good number. Next one comes from Patton, who says, Dan, do you think CRM ends up having planes at one point? Do you think that's a reveal? Yeah, I feel like CRM does have planes, because the thing is that if you have helicopters working, I feel like you kind of have another higher level. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like with the resources that they have and all the stuff that they have, yeah, no, I feel like they have planes in some kind of way. Probably kill jets, they just come in there and kill everybody, One thing I can't wait to see, though, is that one shot from the trailer where you see a building and you see a helicopter that's blowing up the building. It's shooting at this building with all these missiles and stuff. I mean, that is just so good. But yeah, I feel like they have plans. It's just a matter of seeing it. And the last one comes from Last, who says that, Dan, do you think that we will get to see any kind of scenario that's related to Fear the Walking Dead? Because we got to see the USS Pennsylvania. So do we think that maybe because the CRM's main headquarters is Philadelphia, do you think there'll be any kind of connections? Also, do you think that we'll get to see anything related to a maybe battle between the National Guard and any kind of battles between people from the world beyond and Fear? No, I don't think we'll get to see anything like that. I feel like Ones Who Live is going to give little like Easter eggs, but I don't think it's going to go fully into detail about that stuff. One thing I do think we'll get to see, though, and I think this is pretty cool, is that they have mentioned, even in the intro you get to see, there is like a nuclear like fallout type of location in the distance, right, nearby the Texas area. I would actually find that really cool if maybe like they go out on a mission at one point and they're like, oh yeah, this is nearby Texas, but you got to wear a certain amount of whatever because it's not safe there because it's highly radiated, you know? I think that'd be really cool. I actually appreciate that they're making Fear useful, for once, I mean, it's pretty cool, and that's the thing is, people sitting there say like, oh, Fear is so bad, I choose to say it's not canon. Well, unfortunately, you're kind of wrong because it is canon, in this show, they're making it very obvious that in Texas, there's a lot of radiation, there's a lot of stuff going on, so, yeah, that show does have a purpose. That show does, have a presence in this franchise. I mean, whether it's realistic or not. So, yeah, pretty interesting. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys think in terms of all this stuff, all these questions? Do you think 6 episodes for The Ones Who Live is enough? Post comments down below. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos of The Walking Dead. Be sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys very soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.